Hello again, lads. Got something different for you today. I've been rethinking the Zombie Horde. Some of you might have looked at my back catalog and know about the Zombie Horde, but I'm going to assume that a lot of you have not. So what is the Zombie Horde? How do you make one? Well, basically the Zombie Horde is a mindless deck. It's a way to play multiplayer cooperative commander, or any other format really, without going against the other players directly. To start, you take a stack of zombies, zombie creatures, black things, that are mindless. The objective, the idea is that the Zombie Horde deck, and I'll show you what that when I get to it, you want to reduce complexity. You don't want it to be terribly difficult. You don't want it to require a lot of thought, because most people will not have the luxury of somebody playing for the Zombie Horde, so it should be fairly automatic. Things I've got: Yix the Jailer, 1 and a black for 2/1 zombie wizard. Cards in graveyard lose all abilities. Nothing there. Scathe Zombies, 2 colors and black for 2/2 zombie, with a very nice quote by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. They groaned, they stirred, they all uprose, nor spake nor moved their eyes. It had been strange, even in a dream, to have seen those dead men rise. I love it. In fact, I ordered a foil one. It's cheap. Yeah, that's the other thing. You don't want this to cost too much, so keep it as cheap and simple as possible. Sewer Shambler, 2 and a black for 2/1 zombie with Swamp Walk. The scavenge ability you ignore. So as you go through, some of the abilities, and I'll point them out, you ignore as the game progresses. Infectious Horror, 3 and a black for 2/2 zombie horde. Whenever he attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. Now when you're playing cooperatively, you start at a shared life total, and you manipulate the shared life total up or down depending on how difficult you want it to be. If you want it to be on easy difficulty, start at a base 40, as in any other commander game, and then add 20 for each other player, each other actual human with the commander deck interacting with the zombie deck. So if you have 3 players, that would be 80 life. That's usually a bit high, but if you want it on easy mode, that's the way to do it. Noxious Ghoul. This is one of the absolute most terrifying cards in the deck. 3 black for 3/3 zombie. Whenever he or another zombie enters the battlefield, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 till end of turn. Remember this guy. I've got a bit of a story about him. Unnerve. Each of your opponents choose and discards 2 cards. Graph Harvest. Zombies you control have menace. This ability, exile a creature card, just ignore it. All you care about is zombies have menace. Death Baron. Ignore the skeletons part. Zombies you control get +1/+1 death touch. Siphon Flesh. Each other player sacrifices a creature. You put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield for each creature that sacrifices this way. Zombie Goliath, just a big beater. Bog Raiders, just a small swamp walker. Fallen Cleric. Ignore the morph. He's not going to morph. All you care about is that he's a 4/2 with protection from clerics if it's relevant. Usually won't be. Living Death. Everybody exiles their creatures in the graveyard, sacrifice all creatures he controls. You swap. Everything that's dead in your graveyard comes back. Everything that's living on the battlefield dies. Easy. Cower in Fear. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 till end of turn. Liliana's Mastery. Zombies you control get +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/2 black zombie. This one is relevant. You will actually do that. Twilight's Call. It will not be cast as an instant. Each player returns all creature cards from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. and that can get scary. Nested Ghoul. Whenever a source deals damage to it, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Shambling Attendants. Delve doesn't matter. The Death Touch does. So effectively it's 3/5 Death Touch, that's all that matters. Felden's Cane. This serves an important purpose in the game. Resets the zombie deck and makes it so you say all the hard work we did is now for nothing. Fantastic. Bad Moon. Black creatures get +1/+1. I don't understand why Black Moon costs 1 colorless, 1 black, and Crusade costs white. They're the same thing, just for black and white. Why does the black one have 1 colorless and the white one doesn't? Never understood that. Undead War Chief. The zombie spells you cast cost 1, that doesn't matter. All that matters is zombies get +2/+1, including him, so he comes into play as a 3/2. Zombie Cutthroat, ignore the morph, he's only a 3/4 beater. Severed Legion, 2/2 with Fear. Lord of the Undead. He's now a zombie. Just like all the other lords from before the modern era, they've all been errated to be the creature type they are a lord of, and this is all other. And ignore return zombie card from graveyard. That's not going to happen. That doesn't matter in this game. But all other zombies get +1/+1. Grave Betrayal. Whenever creature you don't control dies, bring it back under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter, and it is a zombie. A black zombie, not a white zombie. There will be no Thunderkiss 65 today. Endless Ranks of the Dead. This is one of my... I have rethought this, and I took out a lot of the cards that are really complex. This adds complexity because you have to count the number of zombies. But since it's only the zombies on the battlefield, and it's not that hard to count them, the zombies you control, I went ahead and left it in the deck. Zombie Apocalypse. All zombies come back out of the graveyard, tapped, all humans die. Tainted Remedy. If you're going to play on easy mode, take this out. If the opponent gain life, they lose that much life instead. Cemetery Reaper. The activated ability doesn't matter. All that matters is other zombies you control get +1/+1. Dreadslaver. So whenever a creature dealt damage by Dreadslaver this turn dies, return it to the battlefield under your control. And it's a black zombie. Easy. Innocent Blood. Everybody sacrifices a creature. Fleshbag Marauder. Everybody sacrifices a creature. Call to the Grave. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they sacrifice a non-zombie creature. In turn, no creatures in play, sacrifice Call to the Grave. Army of the Damned. Put 13 2/2 black zombie creatures tokens onto the battlefield tapped. Flashback. Ignore it. It's not going to trigger. Rotlung Reanimator. Now you could, if you want a more complex game, you could have the Zombie Horde automatically flashback the Army of the Damned whenever it could. I'll explain that more in just a moment. Rotlung Reanimator. Whenever he or another Cleric is put in the graveyard in play, put the 2/2 black zombie creature token into play. Bantu's Last Reckoning. Destroy creatures. Doesn't matter. Zombie Horde doesn't have lands, so nothing's going to tap or untap as far as lands are concerned during his next untap step. Gluttonous Zombie, maybe? Maybe he's got a bird allergy. Maybe he's gluttonous. Anyway, he's a 3/3 with Fear. Zombie Brute and Fly, just ignore it. It's not going to matter. The Zombie Horde does not have a hand. 5/4 trample. Famine. 3 damage to each creature and each player. Massive Ghouls. Just a big beater. So you have cards, actual cards. And then you have tokens. A lot of tokens. A lot of tokens. And the way I've done it is I've got 11 tokens of various zombie arts, to make it easy to manipulate the difficulty of the Zombie Horde. And every platoon of zombies has a zombie giant. So this, I believe, is 42 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 40. This is 40 cards. Let's take, I don't know, 3 platoons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll take 4 platoons. As I fling them all over the place. Okay, where are you, little zombie? Okay, so we've got 4 platoons. Now, for this, the actual token cards count as cards. So if they go to the graveyard, if you trigger something like Twilight's Call, they all come back. All these tokens are treated as creatures in the graveyard, so they will come back. And if you've got a lot of them in there, if you've killed a bunch, and the Zombie Horde triggers one of his return everything to play abilities, that's bad. So how many platoons we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 44, 48 cards. Plus 40, so that's 88 cards. 88 cards for this demonstration. Let's just shuffle it up a bit, and I'll show you how it works. And then one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I promised one of the lads that subscribed to me recently I would show him the Zombie Horde with Edgar Markov. He wanted to see Edgar in an actual game, but it's Christmas time. Lads and I aren't going to get together for probably another week. Everybody's on holidays, so I will not get a chance to show Edgar in action in a real game, so I'm doing this. That's probably insufficiently shuffled, but I'll try it anyway. Before I do that, let me show you what else I have. So these cards I took out because they add complexity. You want to minimize complexity. You want this to be mindless as possible, but if you want it a bit more difficult, or you have somebody playing the Zombie Horde directly, then put them in. So he came out because whenever he deals damage to a player, now if you are 3 players, let's say 3 of you have joined forces against the Zombie Horde, you have a shared life total. So when he attacks, you have to decide who he damages if he's unblocked. So somebody has to volunteer to take the hit, or you have to say he's attacking who. It's a layer of complexity the deck doesn't need. Lotlith Giant. This isn't hard, but every time you have to count the cards in the graveyard, that slows down the flow of the game. So for that reason, he came out. And also to target opponent. Well, you're in shared life total, so it should be to your shared life total, but then you have to stop, count the card in the Zombie Horde's graveyard. Soulless One, he came out because his power and toughness is variable. It's something else to keep track of. Same with White of Precinct 6. Same with Unbreathing Horde. He comes into play, and first you have to count all the zombies in play, all zombies in the Zombie Horde's graveyard, and then you have to keep track of the damage prevention. Nah. Is this sleeve different? The sleeve looks a little bit different. Screw it. So this is another zombie platoon. I don't like the art on that one so much, but I have it anyway. Alright, so before my camera quits, here's what happens. And I'll show this in the live game with Edgar. You start the game, and whoever is playing, the humans, you get 3 turns to set up. On turn 4, this happens. The Zombie Horde takes his turn, and he goes, okay, so you flip over cards until you flip over a real card. So in this turn, this would not be that impressive. He flips over Graph Harvest. Zombies have menaced. Yeah, big deal. So let's say another turn. Am I going to get... Okay, screw this. I need to show it with the tokens flipping, not the cards. Okay, so token. Creature. And this is why it becomes more difficult when you add more tokens, because it has more tokens to flip until you get to an actual card. Another way to raise the difficulty is, and I did this to my friends, so I was running the Zombie Horde to show them how it works. And they decided they wanted it hard. And so instead of flipping over 1 actual magic card, we flipped over 2. Well, we flipped over token, Noxious, Ghoul, and they're like, oh, that's not good. And then I flipped over token, 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 token. 6 or 7 tokens until I got to another real card. And so all the creatures got neg 7, neg 7, neg 7, neg 8, neg 8, something like that. All the creatures died. And I said, yeah, you lads wanted it hard, didn't you? There you go. Anyway, the zombies, if you want it harder, you can play them so they have haste. Normally, zombies aren't known for haste, so they'll sit there for a turn, just like any other creature. And when they are ready to attack, when they've sat there for a turn, everything attacks. The Zombie Horde does not block, the Zombie Horde only attacks and flips over cards. The way you win is you drive the Zombie Horde's attack down to 0 by dealing damage to it. So if you attack the Zombie Horde, let's say you attack it for 4. You just do 1, 2, 3, 4. So those go in the graveyard. That's why Felton's Cane is bad. Because if the Zombie Horde flips over Felton's Cane, he will immediately trigger it, shuffle everything here back into his library, including all the tokens. Zombie Apocalypse. If he flips this over, he will return all zombie tokens and zombie cards from his graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and then kill all the humans. Right, so I think that's enough of an explanation. Let me get set up with Edgar.